Hey, everyone. It is Jay only today, and I have a guest with me, Mike Doehla. So, Mike is a guy that I randomly found on the internet, you guys. I did not go down the Mike rabbit hole. I don't know who this guy is, but from what I saw in the little time of following him, I really connected to his posts. And so I reached out and I was like, Hi, Mike. I'd love to have you on the podcast. And you were like, Yeah, sure. So, this is where we're at right now. Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jose. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. This is how connections are made through the internet. It was how I built a business and my crazy life, and here I am. So happy to be here.
Well, thank you. So basically, I spoke to Mike and we were like talking before even pressing play, and we had so much to share. And I'm like, okay, let's just press play. So the humans are used to just basically hearing Alicia and I chat about anything. And then we kind of get to some good stuff, but we just chat about our lives and whatever. And the last thing that I said before I pressed play was that I had done a documentary. So I was just telling Mike about Would You Eat a Donut a Day, where we ate only Tim Hortons for a month. Didn't even tell him why we did that or whatever, but I will be sending him the link. And I think your wife will laugh because it's like fun. Like we're funny.
Mhm.
And it's like it's women, it's moms and kids and whatever. But he was telling me that he did his own little experiment. So let's start with that and go from there.
Yeah, so this probably had to be 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
I was, a couple years into the business I started and now sold Stronger You Nutrition, online nutrition coaching company, flexible dieting, all about like no restrictions, stuff like that. At the time and still now, I had a lot of people telling me that you can't have sugar. Everything you eat carb wise has to be like green vegetables or oats or something quote unquote healthy. So I was like, let me try to eat Captain Crunch for a couple months as my only carb source, other than like some green veggies. I did it. I lost 20 pounds. I felt great. I performed well. I slept well. My teeth stayed intact. My health stayed intact. And I did that to prove to people that the carb source you eat, if you're generally living a healthy lifestyle, like you can have these things. And it was extreme. I told people, do not do this. Clients, do not follow my lead. Maybe you can have a little bit of Captain Crunch for your carb sources, but don't do all of it like I am. I'm a crazy person and I want to just do something wild. And I did it. And actually, I remember losing a member over it. And it was weird because they were like, I think you're leading or giving us a bad example. And I was like, how do I protect this and share my story without telling people to do it, which was in my head to literally tell them not to do it. So that wasn't cool, but yeah, it was wild because they're like, oh, this can't happen. I'm like, it's happening before your eyes. I don't know why you don't believe that you can eat these things and still do well.
Oh, Mike, I have so much to say. I resonate with your story, especially when you said you lost a member. And like
Yeah.
I don't know if like I've never had someone say like, I'm quitting your weight loss because you're eating Tim Hortons. Definitely had some opinions, but they were also, I'm like, guys, this is your perception of our intentions. And like your intentions are different than your member. So your member, you're like, don't eat Captain Crunch because we don't have the same goals right now. Your goal was to create content, proof. And so like your intentions were good for what you were
Mhm.
doing. Like that went with what you were trying to accomplish as a goal. And then you said my teeth didn't rot. Like people thought we were
Yeah.
gonna die. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna die. I was like, what do you think they serve you at Tim Hortons? It's sandwiches and soup and donuts. Like it's just hilarious to me.
It's interesting. People are funny about food. There's like this superiority complex about it.
Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so I've been like really lately, I don't know, I have this like, I don't know if it's a midlife crisis, but I'm like, I'm saving the world. Do you want to do this with me, Mike? Okay, so in my mind, I'm like, listen, I went through all the like, okay, why do they think this? Why is their belief system? First of all, our culture and do you live in New York? Are you from New York?
Yeah, yep, from
Okay.
New York. A little
So
bit
you're not
upstate.
far away from me. Like,
Yeah,
I would drive to New York.
yeah.
But so basically our culture, our society has this like belief system, like just like this, and we're all affected by it. I like to say it's traumatic, but we're all damaged by it. Like I feel like it's kind of insane to me that, this like 70-year-old that's never been a part of the diet industry, has never tried to lose weight, is still afraid to eat after 8 p.m.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
You see what I mean? Like it's obviously like it's been a while. Like it's been a while that it's ingrained in our system of beliefs. And I'm like, how do we fix it? We can't fix everyone, but like, what's happening? Like, what is that one thing that could really make a change or shift the trajectory of obesity and whatever? And I'm like, I really feel it's the relationship with food. Like, we have such a strained, damaged relationship with food. Like, we don't believe in food freedom. Like, we're afraid of Captain Crunch. We're afraid of soda, where it's just like there's so much happening. And I'm like, where do we start?
Yeah, I a lot of times I think about like why do people not believe that they can eat these things and still do well? Well, it's because there's so many influential people out there telling them they can't.
Okay.
We're trained since we're little kids to hear if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And with food and like flexible dieting, it's like, well, no, you can eat, all you need to do is eat the right amount of food in, a decent nutritional breakdown while enjoying your favorite foods in the right amounts. So I don't know. It starts when we're young, like our parents, our grandparents, they mess a lot of people up. Most of the clients I worked with were, they were bringing in like the demons of the past, where like they had to finish their plate, or they couldn't, like you said, eat after a certain time, or they have a cupcake and it's going to go right to their butt. And it's like, well, why do we talk like that?
I
Like, it's
know.
not how it works.
And you proved it with Captain Crunch. We proved it with Tim Hortons. We actually like lost a total of 15 pounds in a month, like together, me and my partner and my business partner. And I ate 67 donuts in a month. You know what I mean? Like it became my morning, mid snack. And then like at 9 p.m., that's what I would eat before going to bed, like a Boston cream. And like I lost 7 pounds. I hadn't been that thin in a very long time. Like I started at a small weight, and it's like I couldn't believe. And also the energy I had, like I would eat my like bagel belt before going to my spin class, and like I just like felt like this is crazy. But we also had the conversation that the other part, it wasn't just proving weight loss, calorie deficit, whatever. It was how restricted you can feel on a menu. That was also
Yeah.
part of our messaging, because as much as I was eating donuts and bagels and bacon and whatever, yes, I was losing weight, but where's the sushi? Where's my date night? Where's life? And so that was also part of the messaging in our documentary, which was like, it was a lot, but okay. So let's go to why don't they believe us? We felt the same. Like we proved to you what's wrong with you. Like, but people don't think it can work for them. So like it worked for you, Mike, because you're a man and you work out a lot. Like it's when people are like, it's because you exercise. I'm like, I used to exercise before the Tim Hortons the exact same way. Nothing changed. Why do we think that? Why are we? Yeah.
It starts from like probably our parents telling us we're special and we're unique, and right. It's like, well, our personalities are all a little different and unique and special, but us humans, like we're all pretty much the same with like
Yeah.
different faces and personalities.
Yeah.
That's
You're
it.
right.
Like we are pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Food does what food does for you, for me, and everybody else, aside from like aversions or allergies. Like a chicken breast is going to do what it does for you
Yeah.
and me. A donut is going to do what it does for you and me. And I think it comes down to people wanting to be individual and
Okay.
unique, and they think food is the same, whereas food is not. It's like water. Water is doing the same thing for me and you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yep.
we want to be special, I think, and that's not meant to be negative. It's just saying like this is a
Yeah.
good thing. You have control and you can do something about it.
Yes, yes. I saw that vibe on your grid. Like I saw the vibe of like no victim mentality. Like there's still something you could do. Like I do feel like, and I'm dealing with a lot of women. We're talking about menopause. I'm not in menopause yet. And I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, are you sleeping well? Are you low consumption of alcohol? Are you moving your body every day? And most of us, I always do my own statistics. I'm like 97.83%. Don't. I'm like, you can't be
Right.
like, I'm doing everything menopause when there's so much. Like, let's focus on what you can do. Like, I'm not a can't, like I'm
Right, right.
broken person. I hate that.
I hate it. And in business too, when I would have a crazy idea and someone would say, we can't do that. And I say, well, let's pretend we have to do it.
Yeah.
How would we do it? And
Yeah.
that's what this stuff, like, imagine the reactions I get when I mention menopause, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll never know what that's like,
Yeah.
but I've helped 50,000 people, many of which were that.
Yeah.
So are these people wrong because they came here
Yeah.
with menopause and challenges, and they did it. And
Yeah.
here's how they did it. So,
And also like, and you've talked about comparison and how that can be an inspiration and not, it does not have to be, the thief of joy, they say.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, see, we have a lot of the same beliefs here. But okay, let's go back to you've said when we were children. So one of your posts that's when I decided to send you a message. So you wrote, parents, please be careful how you talk about food around your children. I actually sent this post to my business partner and I was like, this guy knows what's up. I've spent my career fixing what uneducated mothers and fathers did to their kids, and we need to be better. And I love how you're like bold, like you literally just say like this can be like for me not triggering, very true. But as a parent and someone that's like, I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, it gets like, but I'm like, no, but this is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
and also when someone triggers an emotion like from you, that's good. Like that's like, okay, there's progress here. We can like work on this. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I do that quite a bit. I feel like I have to say what I feel and what makes sense. And there are always going to be a few people that are like, oh, like I've been a parent for a little less than 2 years, and someone probably saw that and knew that and said, this guy's been a parent for 2 years. What does he know? Well, I know because
You
almost
worked
every
with
client,
parents.
yeah, yeah, almost every client we've had has been a parent, has been a result of their parents saying things like the cupcake going to the butt, or that's bad, or you're going to get a treat if you behave. And when you look at all the research and all these like experts on like child psychology and things like that, they say like do not talk like that,
No.
because these kids are going to carry these emotions for the rest of their life. And you see it, and then these people are going to be parents of young girls who are going to pick up these habits and think that if they eat this thing it's going to be bad. It's like, and I see it on Instagram on all these pages all the time, like parents, they're just like, I don't let my kid eat junk food. I'm like, just don't even talk about it like that. Like a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago, maybe a couple days ago, we let our daughter have cake for breakfast. She wanted cake. We're like, all right, give her cake. She's not going to want it every day. We're not
No.
going to make cake this big deal. It's just a freaking food, you
Stop
know?
making it a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
talking about, like, I'm like, and language is what matters most. I think that, like, I don't care if you eat a salad at supper and then you're like, I'm eating a salad. And then you're talking shit all the time around your kids, or like, I have to eat a salad. I'm trying to lose weight. Like, just these things. I'm like, how you speak has the most impact on your kids and their relationship with food. And let's be real, it's always, I'm like, we don't need another expert telling us we should eat more vegetables. Like,
Right.
we
We
know
don't need
this.
that. We know that if you take anyone and you give them a grocery cart and you say go buy healthy food, they're gonna do pretty good. But people are not doing it. Like the question is, why are they not doing it? Because they don't know how. And that's where like what I was always big on, like teaching them how to do it.
Mhm.
Because you don't need just another list of food that is probably healthy. You need to know
No.
how to eat like a normal person
Yes. And
in
you
your
need
life.
to
Yeah.
have a better relationship with all foods.
Yep. Yep.
And no, it's like, I'm like, guys, they're like, oh, how, like you said, how damaging is it that you're eating Captain Crunch, or how damaging is it? And I'm like, no one's going to do this. Like,
Yeah.
who's going to like take over this diet of Tim Hortons? No one's going to do this forever. So we're doing it to just prove our message. We're in and out. Like, this is just this is an experiment. This is a documentary. We have intentions. And the doctor that was following us and did our blood work was like, nothing's going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
you
No.
guys
Yeah.
are healthy. You guys move your body. You guys like all, because health is so complex, right? It's not about the food. It's way like you don't smoke. You're not going to be drinking alcohol. It's just going to be good. And I don't drink alcohol because I don't like the taste. And so I'm just like, that's just my thing. But my business partner, opposite. So it's so good that we're two and we're completely different, showing that, we both lost 70 pounds. And so like, it just shows that you just make your life work and what you like and what you don't. So for her, that was a big change, a full month without any alcohol. And
Yeah.
so the doctor was like, it's probably going to be good for Alicia.
Right.
She's
Isn't
not
that
drinking
funny,
for a
right?
month.
People would hear that they did a Tim Horton challenge without thinking what they gave up, which was alcohol. So you're replacing one for the other. Alcohol, you could argue, is maybe a little worse than the donuts. So
Mhm.
that's, I don't know. It's people are so funny. They have their own bias about food and their situation. And I'm like,
And
man,
certain
like, just
types of food.
please listen to me. Listen. Yeah.
No, I agree. So one thing that we noticed, and I know that I can have this conversation honestly with our listeners and you. So we were attacking people in the parking lot and asking them, would you eat a donut a day? Just to see what they would say. So that kind of like triggering their relationship with food,
Yeah.
relationship with donuts.
Yep.
And it was very interesting, the difference between men and women.
Mhm.
So men are like, yeah. And then women are like, why are you asking me this? This is so personal. Like, it's so funny. And I'm like, this is just me asking you if you'll eat a donut. It just shows their relationship with it. I'm not asking you if you have sex with your husband. I'm
Yeah,
asking
yeah.
you, and it's like, why is this
And
a personal question?
they
Like,
were probably like, no. But when you think about it, most people probably consume more calories from other foods that just might not be donuts. So there's still that like shame, like a
there you
donut,
go.
ooh,
Yes,
donut
right.
bad. Like, why is a donut bad? Why?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So we had people say no, but then they're living with 100 pounds of excess fat on their
of
bodies.
course. So you do something potentially worse than a donut all the time, but you don't realize it or you don't acknowledge it because there's built-in shame around food decisions,
Yeah.
which like who cares if you want to do stuff that makes you a little unhealthier, that's your choice. To me, it's like, oh, you don't want to read books? Cool, like don't read books. So like I'm talking to the people that want to be helped or want to
Yes.
improve.
Yes.
Everyone else, like if I ever offend someone that doesn't want to, please know that I'm not talking to people that don't care to change. Like I'm not going to judge you because there's things
Exactly.
I do that I do that probably aren't the best behavior. So who am I to judge, you know?
No, exactly. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I want to serve those that
Yep.
want to improve. Like they're like, oh, I want this different perspective. I want, I like what you're saying. This makes sense to me. Like that's who we serve. Like I feel like at the end of the day, there's tons of people that my service does not serve. Like that's not what they're looking for.
And just scroll
Um,
by, right? Like I'll say something about protein and they're like, "What about vegans?" And I'm like, "Well, I can't really help you because I'm talking about how to get a bunch of protein and it's a lot easier for the meat eater. So just scroll. Like just know
yes,
this post is not for you.
this
Don't
post
argue
is
with
not for
me."
you. Like sometimes this moment is not for you. This TikTok, this 15-second video is not for that. I always say this, don't make it what it's not about.
Yeah. Well,
Like it's
everyone
about
thinks like the
this.
world is for them. Like here's information for a bunch of people. It might not pertain to you. So just understand. Like if I drive by a billboard and it's like something personal injury lawyer, I'm like, well, I don't have a personal injury from a job. So I'm not gonna get mad at this guy for like, oh, get out of my space. Like, what? Like someone behind me might need this guy. So
Yes,
I
critical
think of
thinking.
social media the same way.
We definitely need more critical thinking out there.
Yeah,
Just like choosing the information that is for you is definitely a skill that people need to yes, work on.
yeah.
Okay. So there's one that I didn't go further away. Wait, okay. How about people claiming they accurately track calories? So let's talk about that whole that is like scientifically proven that we definitely do not account for every single thing and that we all consume more than we think.
Yeah.
And that it's normal and that not to feel shame about it, but to just know that that is a thing so that you can be aware of it.
Yeah, so this is it's complicated, right? There's people out there that are like, I'm not eating enough and I'm not losing weight. So I always challenge these people because the hard part is their story to them is 100% accurate. They do exactly what they're supposed to do. And I understand that because I used to do that. And then I took a step back and I realized like, well, crap, I snack, I get drunk on weekends and
Mhm.
eat at the diner at 2 a.m., probably 3,000 calories. So why am I stalled? And that's what happens to people. They do really well for 5 days, 4.5 days, whatever it is. And then they make a few decisions that bring their average calorie up a little bit and they don't acknowledge it. And they argue and debate with me constantly about how they eat 1,200. They always pick 1,200 because
Yeah.
that's a low number.
Well,
So
you
it's
also
like their
know that
selling point.
stems from somewhere in the diet culture. I don't know
Yeah.
where it comes from, but it's from or somewhere.
And it's like, well, it would probably work for most people, but it's extremely low and most people don't need to go that low. So they choose that number because it's their way to
Safe.
sell us on the idea that they are low calorie. But when we look in nature and we look at like starving humans, starving animals, like how do they get that way? They get that way through a chronic deficit over time. So why is the purposeful dieter somehow immune to those same results? Because dieting is really like, it's just your body starving a little bit, right? There shouldn't be a negative connotation with that word. It just means you're burning more calories than you're consuming.
Yeah.
You should wither away just like these other animals in nature. But why aren't you? Well, it's because you're probably not doing what you think you're doing consistently enough to see those results. It's just not how it works. But that's hard. That's a hard debate with people because there's professionals out there and there's books out there that are like, it's not calories, it's this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, listen, it's calories. I proved it with Captain Crunch. You proved it with Tim Hortons. The science proves it. Nature proves it.
Yeah.
You cannot find me a person who cannot lose weight in a true deficit. Yes, some people will need a bigger deficit. There are certain conditions, like menopause might make somebody need fewer calories than they used to.
Yeah.
So
But it's still a deficit is still needed,
Yep.
you guys,
Yeah.
to lose weight. No.
Yeah. And it's not like people hear deficit and they hear extreme dieting.
Yeah.
No, like most of the clients I worked with were few hundred calorie deficit over time, completely changed their life, didn't feel hungry and starved and irritable or anything. So diet doesn't mean starve. It just means consume a little bit of fewer calories than maybe you used to, and or let's get the body moving more. And I know some people hate that, like, move more, eat less mentality, but it's like, that's not the advice. That's how it happens.
Yes, I like that. So I've said this. I think that advice is not enough. Here's what I mean by that. Even if
incomplete.
it is, even if it is what it is eat less and move more. It upsets people for sure. And I think the reason why it's not enough nowadays to just say that, it's not enough to make a change, is because the current system of belief in our society cannot coexist their current beliefs about food, about weight loss, about weight gain, about whatever, and eating less. And, like all the information, all of our beliefs in society, in our culture, it's going to do this with eat less, move more. So that's why it's like, we have to unlearn some of the bullshit that we learned that is just not true so that we can coexist that information now.
Right. And there's like inherent judgment with that statement. Move more. What are you saying? I'm lazy. Eat less. What are you saying? I'm a glutton.
I'm eating too much.
No, we're not saying either. We're saying you're probably a busy parent that might choose a few snacks that aren't that helpful for you, and you work a full-time job and sit around a lot. Like, if I don't try to move, I'll get 3,000 steps a day.
Mike, don't even get me started. I think I turned into a chair last month. I was like a chair. I'm like, the chair and I are one, you guys. I said to my followers, I'm like, I was looking at my steps, and they see me like I'm a spin instructor. I own my spin studio. It's my sport. I love it. It's the way I move my body. That and walking. That's it. That's what I'm doing right now. Things can change. I might lift weights one day, but right now this is my choice. And I just want to be consistent. And I've been spinning for 15 years. I just love it. The music, the people. And so they see me. They're like, she's fit. And I'm like, I literally teach an express class, which is 28 minutes a day. And other than that, I am a chair. And so I have to go out of my way to literally walk and move around. And because that's a value, like that's one of my values. I don't want to be sédentaire. Like I want to move. I want to have more than 2,000 steps. That makes no sense to me. But it's the idea. They see me at one class, they see my picture, and they're like, this girl, like she's super fit, and I'm like, like I don't move a lot. The girl that works at the bakery all day has definitely more calories out than me. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. They're on their feet all day.
They're on their feet. They burn so much energy. They probably don't even need the extra whatever. You know what I mean?
Our clients were always thought like the coaches were like the most active, like fitness maniacs. And I'm like, you guys don't get it. We're basically office workers. We're sitting on the computer the whole time.
Like my job is sitting at a desk. Like that's what I do. I agree. I feel the same. Okay. So this conversation goes well with this one. If you're struggling to lose fat, please think about how you eat on Saturdays and instead of Tuesdays. So when people say, and I know you're going to agree with me, when they say I eat 1,200 calories, you're like, maybe Monday. Maybe that's what
Monday.
you do Monday.
Yeah. Maybe before 6 o'clock, maybe before 7. Like I don't, maybe 1,200 in your head, but not in your body. And
no,
again, this is not judgment. This is just what happens. This is the food environment we're in. dealing with the primitive brain that we have that is like, hey, I don't know the world you're living in. I'm just going to tell you to eat because I want you to reproduce and I don't want to be extinct. That's basically what humans are here for.
And in 2023, we have access to excess so easily, and it goes up so fast. I'm like, you don't realize like the way we live our lives and a lot of like eating out and whatever, it's just, and when people are like, I gain weight just walking in the restaurant, I'm like, that's not how it works, but okay, we can just.
You gain weight walking in the restaurant because every time you go in the restaurant, you have the appetizer, the bread with the butter,
the snack, the drink. I mean, yeah.
Yep. The whole thing. And there's people that claim, like on one of my posts the other day about the caloric deficit and starvation and all this, someone was like, I ran 30 to 40 miles a week and I needed to get down to 400 calories a day to lose weight. I said, that's just not how it works. But
that's not true.
How am I going to get through to that person? Zero chance. So
okay, I was going to say, I hope you didn't even try.
No, zero chance. And it's like, it sounds like weird, but it's like, it's not even worth trying to save that mentality because there's nothing I could do or say or show that person that would change their mind. Their story is the reality. The unfortunate truth is they're just not aware of how many calories they actually ate. And saying 400, like most people eat 400 calories worth of oil or butter accidentally a day. So
that's one of the things when we like have those conversations with our members as well. It's like where calories are coming from, like sneaky calories that you aren't realizing, like liquids, condiments. And that's just like easy skim off the top things that you can just like kind of make a change and start consuming less, and that's what we mean by consuming less, just creating calorie awareness, just create awareness around what you're doing, how you're living your life. So there's 7 minutes left. We could speak forever. But one thing that you said was like, society is willing to, I don't have it in front of me, but I remember it. Society is willing to like yo-yo diet until they're 73, but wouldn't give a good coach, a few months to like change the mindset, create some awareness. Like, let's like, man, I connected with that.
Right. Like people, there are so many members that we had or clients, whatever we want to call them.
Yeah. Members, clients, all good.
Would come by and they were 50, 60, 70, and they were on like no joke, like the 50th, 60th diet they've ever done. And I'm like, man, if we could have somehow had a time machine, had this program when you were like 25 years old, you wouldn't have felt like you dieted your entire life. And the sad thing is like people feel like they have dieted their entire lives, yet they're not at the result they want to be.
Yeah, that's
sad. Like where I say like psychological dieting versus physiological dieting. Like psychological dieting is in our heads, we're on that diet, but our body and our health tell a different story, which is the real story. Because no matter how you feel, if you're actually on that diet or doing what is needed to change the health in the body, you're going to see those results.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's depressing that we live in a world where people just feel like they're on a diet their whole life. Like,
imagine that. So that their mental state is like, I'm on a diet, and their physical state is not even at a good place. Like, I mean, that's not a good scenario.
And that's the proof. Like when people are like, well, I'm eating 1,200 calories. And I'm like, well, like you don't become 250 pounds by eating 1,200 calories. Like, it's just not how it works. And that is like it offends people at times. Like we don't get this way by doing the right thing. We get this way by being unaware of doing the wrong thing. And
that's the thing. Let's finish with that. It's the unaware. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't intentionally get here.
Yep.
I truly believe that there is a big part. Some do. Some are like, I just like lost control. And those people typically can right away know what to do to start their journey. It's the people that they turn around and like, fuck, I gained 50 pounds in the last 4 or 5 years, 10 years. Like how many of our moms weighed 99 pounds on their wedding day and now they're 60, 70 and they're 100 pounds more, that didn't happen overnight. But it's like, I turned around and you're like, oh my God, it's awareness. It's staying connected. It's looking at how your body's, how is it going? Managing your weight is a different, like we could have a friggin' whole podcast on, weight management and what that looks like. But there's definitely this awareness piece that society's missing. And it's like awareness can't coexist with our beliefs right now. It's a big change that needs to happen.
Yeah, it's a good point because a lot of people, they hear these things like that I say, and they're like, "Oh, you're calling me a liar." I'm like, "Well, no, like definitely, like you said, there's some people that are just like full of it, and those people sometimes come out of the woodwork and say, Mike, I've been fudging." But for the most part, it's like you just don't know. You don't know the mayonnaise has this many calories, or you don't know that every time you have a glass of wine, you get hungry and then you eat a bunch of snacks.
Yeah.
Like you're just not aware of what this food does and how incredibly easy it is to go the opposite way, because
Yeah.
it's like capitalism at work. It's like all these companies create these delicious snacks to make money, and they are the best at manipulating our senses and our emotions, and we're like, yep, I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
And we don't
And then
want to
their
throw it away.
marketing is top notch. Like the minute
Yeah.
the word thin is there,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I was like looking at my thin Reese's that I buy, and I eat thin Reese, 1 to 2 thin Reese's after every meal. It's like my mental way to say it's over. The
Yeah.
lunch is
Yep,
done.
yep.
So I eat my wrap, and then I always have my Reese's, and I'm like, oh my God, this Reese is as much as a normal Kit Kat, not a thin
Yeah.
Kit Kat, just a normal, like the tiny Kit Kat, like I was like, bello, I'm just going to eat the Kit Kat because I love Kit Kats more than I
Right,
love.
right.
Anyways, that was just like one of my little things lately, but it's just fun to have, like, it's more looking into like, oh, this is not at all, I had a bad relationship with this and I thought that it was like gonna, I mean, let's not even start about the sugar, but you get what I mean. Like, just like people are like,
Yeah.
oh, there's sugar in this, or oh, this puts fat on my body. I'm like, nothing's fattening. That is not a
Right.
thing. Like,
Too many calories of whatever food is going to do that. Like sugar is, everybody picks on sugar, but it's
I
like, yeah,
know.
like most people that I'm dealing with, they're not just chugging sodas all day.
Yeah.
Like they're actually, like when we would look at the numbers, most people were overeating fat, not carbs.
Mhm.
And that's what, like the oils and the butters and
Yeah.
the
And things they don't
steaks.
even notice. You don't, and
Yeah.
that goes, guys, this is why I don't cook.
Right. Right,
The
the
listeners
fats
know I
are,
don't cook. So
those are like the invisible calories. Like you don't
yes.
know when there's oil or butter. You
Yeah, you're
tasted
right.
it, like it's there, but you don't see it. You would see a mountain of like cheese, but you don't see the butters and the oils, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what gets people a lot of times.
Okay, last thought that I'm getting, and I hope we can fit it in 2 minutes. Okay, what about the fact that if we were to just have such a better relationship with all foods and they would just coexist with our lives, and it's like you want cake for breakfast, like your daughter, it's going to be okay. Don't you think that we would be less dicks around food? Like there's be less binging, less, like I always say, like if you just have access to all the things, you're not such a dick about it. You're not such like you don't go and binge on the weekend because you can have it all the time. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
this way to just be and wake up and be like, I can do whatever. People are like, oh my God, if I give myself that freedom, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm like, I think losing
Yeah.
your shit comes from not giving yourself that freedom. I mean, it is a process. It can take time and the
Yeah.
weight might go up a little bit, but after a while, if you truly practice it, it really is freedom. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's a lot of people that like the abstainers versus the moderators. Like people can moderate well. Some people, like if they get around it, they lose it. But that's probably from like many years ago where someone made them think that this food was like special.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I like people to like practice that stuff. Like maybe don't have like 6 different kinds of potato chips, but have one and see how you behave.
Yeah.
And it's sad that people can't enjoy these things without thinking like bad, bad, bad.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us as well, because we've grown up hearing the same things.
Oh, it's a constant like reminder. Like sure I can do this. Sure I can go for an ice cream. Sure. And it's like, I can trust myself. Trusting yourself is also
Yep.
something that was taken away from us in the diet industry. Like you can't trust me. I need to tell you what to eat. You can't trust yourself. I need to tell you what to eat. You can't trust yourself. You need to be like limited and you need deprivation and you need motivation. Like it's like, as in like, you can't be yourself. And it just has led over and over, just feeling like I can't do this. This is so hard. Oh my God, there's so much I could say. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta go. It's ending in a minute. Mike, this was amazing. Thank you so much. I will add all the Mike things in the show notes.
Yeah.
But go and
Awesome. Thank
follow
you.
Mike Doehla. And he's working on a website, mikedoehla.com.
Yep. It's coming.
And how do we write Doehla?
Doehla.
A lot of extra letters there.